This is Life and Times with Mike and Terry Day, and we're going to do a continuation of our marriage series. We're going to talk about just things that you can do to help maintenance your marriage, how to maintain it, and how to grow in it, and some of the stuff that we really want to cover today.
Some of the things that we've put into practice in our own marriage.
Yeah, I think the last video we talked about I think the last subject we handled was communication, and communication is such a big deal. I've always been a over communicator, where I would probably everywhere I was going to go during the day, I'd make sure once cell phones kind of came into play, I'd call her, I'm going here, or I'm going there, or I'm going to do this. Now she was the consummate under communicator and never told me anything about where she was going. And
yeah, but we've discussed that too, because some of it was honestly rebellion. Yeah. Really.
And it's just one of those things that, me being the over communicator, her being the under communicator, we kind of met in the middle. We brought things a little closer to center, and I still probably over communicate, but she's come a little closer to the communication side of it. And,
well, let me tell you a secret. What happened was I'm not exaggerating when I say, or he's not exaggerating when he says he over communicated, because I probably took at least 20 calls per day from this guy. And I found myself going, I'd pick up the phone and I'd go, like that.
You did.
I did. Didn't you know that?
Yeah,
so, but you know what? One time when I did that, I heard in my spirit, there are women out there whose husbands never call them. And that was just what I needed to hear to appreciate that my husband loved to call me and share something that had just happened. Loved to call me to let me communicate where he was going so I wouldn't worry. And I just started to appreciate that about him. And so let me also give you another secret. You know what I started doing? I physically, and you know what? I think they even train this at the call centers. Put a smile on, and I would basically say hello, expressing that I was pleased to hear from him. And you know what? That has served me well.
That's the basics of communication, is just, is an exchange back and forth, but it needs to happen in all areas. We need to have it about the things that we love in life. We need to have it about the things that we don't like. If we're not communicating about, that I don't know that she doesn't like, a certain restaurant or whatever, then it's not going to be a happy time for her. So we need to communicate. We need to be open and honest with one another.
Boy, you can go off on a tangent on that, on restaurants, choosing a restaurant.
Right, yeah, really.
We had fun with that over the years.
That could be one of those areas of consternation within a marriage. When it comes down to, well, where would you like to eat? Oh, I don't care. Where would you like to eat? And then one of us picks one, and the other one's like, no, I don't want to go there. So you just got to be open and honest about your communication, and making sure that all areas of your life, you're talking to one another, and you're making sure that your needs, your desires are being communicated in that area. So communication's a really big key.
Well, once again, walking in love, when he just expressed and communicated to me that it wasn't very kind of me to ignore him and to not communicate that on the way home from work that I decided that I wanted to swing by my friend's house and spend a little bit of time with my friend. And so he's at home thinking, well, she just got off work. She should be home in, 20 minutes, and nothing. And nothing. And nothing, and then he starts calling. He starts blowing up my phone. But that phone was in my purse, out in the car, but not beside me. And, a couple hours had gone by, and I get ready to come home, and I look and I could think, uh-oh, I'm in trouble.
And you weren't. she wasn't in trouble, but it was just
Well,
you could
were.
become concerned.
I was just going to
about
say, it
someone's
wasn't very
whereabouts.
nice of me. And when he put it, he says, it only takes 30 seconds to give me a call or text me, then I wouldn't even be concerned at all. And when he put it that way, that, it's part of walking in love one to another. And I, would take him off the hook, so to speak. And, he's my protector. He is. And, again, when you think about just loving your husband or wife, that's just an easy way to love him.
Yeah, I think the last video we touched on this next topic, stay connected. And it really is important to come up with things that you enjoy. Having fun is a huge key. I mean, let me put it this way. If you're not having fun in your marriage, you're doing it wrong.
There you go.
I mean, it's just that simple. We have a blast together, and we have many, many things that we enjoy doing together, and we look for things to do together. So, we really do stay connected. We get that connection going, and then we try to find things that we enjoy doing together so that we can keep that connection all the time.
Well, every single morning we connect. We have a cup of coffee together. We read our Bibles together. When I say together, I'm reading whatever God's got me on. He's reading whatever God's got him on. But then after we close those books, we talk about, wasn't this interesting? Now, every once in a while, I'm a chatty Cathy and start talking, this is so cool. And
she starts talking before we're finished.
before we're finished. And but anyway.
So, but the thing about that is that we take that time every single day, Monday through Friday, and it requires work.
We have carved out that time
Right.
and prioritized connecting.
And that time takes us getting up on the weekdays at 5 a.m. in order to carve out that block of time.
Right.
Now, some people, they don't want to do that. They'd rather do it in the evening or whatever. Whatever works for you
Works for you
is the big key. But you have to make sure that you carve out that time. For us, morning is the best time to do it. I feel freshest then, and we talk about our goals. We talk about things that we want to accomplish and do, and the events of the upcoming day, what they're going to be like, things that we need to pray about. All of those things that we really work on, and that's helping that staying connected.
Well, and another thing that we do is, well, what can I do for you? And he says, well, what can I do for you?
Yeah.
Which again, just connects you with your spouse. To know that he's concerned about me and my day just makes me warm, warm inside.
So, and we do that for one another. We make sure that we get that connection going, and we find those things that we love to do together, and we have fun. If we can't joke and have fun together, then again, you're doing it wrong if that doesn't happen in your marriage.
I'll tell you, I did an Ephesians 3:20 wish list, and I know people don't like that word wish, but I don't even know what word would you use instead of wish.
List of things you wanted, desires.
Desires,
wishes,
yes. My Ephesians 3:20 desire list. And one of the top on the list was humor. That I wanted somebody who was funny. And this guy is so funny.
I'm funny, ha ha, and funny faux pas. Yeah, we do. We have a blast together.
We just over the years, humor has again served us really well.
Yeah.
When we're having an argument, a disagreement, or a fight, I don't care. You know what? In a marriage, you got it all there. And I know people look at our marriage and think that nothing ever ruffles us, and we're just two peas in a pod, and that nothing. Au contraire. I'm fire. I'm rah, and he's like even keel. I have to give him a lot of credit for that, but he has blazed the trail with humor.
And sometimes you just have to break up the tension of the situation
Absolutely.
with a little bit of humor,
Yeah, we have movie lines.
Yeah.
Old obscure movies is something that we enjoy. We'll pull lines from and we'll pop them out on each other for different things, and it just keeps the laughter going throughout the day, and during just it's just fun. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, yeah. So next one that we came up with was keep romance in your marriage. Keep it alive. It's one of those things that now we do a lot of marriage counseling. We talk with people who are getting ready to get married and people who have been married for a long time. And I really believe that it is the man's responsibility to keep that romance alive. That you have to do things, within the marriage that let your wife know that you love her, and that it just requires you putting a little thought and a little effort in it, and not just being, going through life, la-di-da and not knowing what's going on. You have to be intentional about your life, and you have to put some effort into it. And really, it is the man's responsibility to keep that romance alive. I think it's important.
We were talking just a little while ago about staying connected, and one of the things that we do regularly is we revisit our dating period. We describe it, we talk about it, we cherish it. It's special. It's our love story, and so we talk. We even, repeat our love story to each other.
Yeah.
And that's romantic.
People who know us maybe get tired of it. We've made them watch the wedding over and over again. We have people that won't come over.
That's a true story. When we first got married.
Like, do we have to watch the wedding again, or can we do something else this time? So.
Every time somebody came over, we would play the wedding video.
And it sounds kind of funny, but we enjoyed our own romance and our own life and how things came together and all that it took to get us from one place, from point A to point B, and point B being married.
We even talk about the miracle of how God brought us together, to really recognize this is kind of a miraculous situation. And over the years, I really enjoy listening to other people's love story. And it has become apparent that it is a miracle.
Yeah, we are absolutely, more so when we first met than we are now, but we were absolutely totally opposite extremes of the spectrum. And it was certainly miraculous how God put us together, and how we overcame that and really enjoy being around one another. But
well, I'm going to tell on my husband a little bit. I'll tell on us both, but men think it's embarrassing to write poetry and stuff like that. But my husband,
she's going off script now. I didn't know we were going here.
But on February 14th, Valentine's Day, that's one of our traditions that we've done for many, many years, was to write poetry to each other, write a little sweet something to each other. And he still surprises me with flowers on Valentine's Day. And there's been, on one of his poems that we ran across on his computer just the other day, it was so cute, it was so sweet, but he had reminisced. It was one of the, dates and locations, and which
bringing to remembrance different times that we had spent together and things that had happened and things like that.
Yeah, he surprised me with a dinner out in the park for my birthday, and there's just been lots of surprises. He surprises me. That's a great romantic thing to do.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, and that's something that you need to incorporate into your marriage, is to be spontaneous a bit, And one of the things that we've always really pounded on when we're doing marriage counseling is that your spouse has to be your priority. You got to be. it can't be the job, it can't be the kids, it can't be the best friend, it can't be the hobby, it can't be all of that stuff. Your spouse has to be your priority. Number one priority is each other. And
Well, over the years, we've had different people live with us, so they see us raw. But what's so cool about that, though, is to have them compliment us about how we handled, the great times and the not so great times, and the admiration they have for how we've handled ourselves and each other.
The greatest compliment that we hear a lot of times is that, boy, I hope when I get married that that my spouse and I get along as well as you all do.
Right. Well, and I brought that up because one of the gentlemen that lived with us for a period of time, one of the things that had impressed him was we were doing some construction out here, and I was really concerned about it needed to be this way, and we just weren't we were just not communicating. And one of the things I've said over the years about communication is God's order in Ephesians chapter 5 for the marriage relationship is that the husband is the head and he makes the final decision. And I've always said that he has been so honoring to me that he doesn't ignore my opinions or my concerns. And I always feel that he hears me, that I've been heard. And then I believe in him to make the right decision, as long as it's my no.
I mean, we really, that statement has to work differently in every relationship. But I mean, for us, it's we come together, we talk about it, we go through all the pros and the cons, the positives, the negatives. We go through all of those things. Then we come to 99.9999% of the time we come to a decision together.
Absolutely.
On things. It's very rarely that that has come into play. But
so this friend that lived with us, so Mike has to go to work. He has to leave. He leaves. And I'm here with the construction crews, and I'm not a happy camper because I felt like, he wasn't listening to me. Well, he comes home a few hours later because I've called him about a couple of things, and he literally comes home to comfort my heart by let's discuss this and let's come to a decision so that I wasn't disturbed. And that really impressed this gentleman that was living with us. He says, I've never seen anything like that. That, Mike would drop what he was doing and drive all the way here to do a face-to-face. And that is a beautiful and exactly what he does. He takes care of me. He makes sure that he's just so good and kind to me. Let me put it that way.
Well, I mean, when I guess when you're single, the life can be all about you. And when it comes to getting into that marriage relationship and moving forward in that, you really, really it requires sacrifice. I mean, it requires that it's not about you anymore. It's about compromise. It's about sacrifice. It's about
prioritizing what we were just saying.
Prioritizing your spouse being your number one priority. You were talking about in Ephesians, it says, love your wife like Christ loved the church. That's my responsibility. And Christ sacrificed himself for it. So there is sacrifice in it, and there's sacrifice, on the woman's part too. To put aside maybe some of her desires and change, compromise a little bit and come a little closer to center. And that's what we've always done. We've always tried to do that for one another.
Now, obviously, because we love God and the Lord Jesus Christ and the scriptures, the leading of the Holy Spirit, that's the center, and that is our common ground, and that's why our marriage works.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, and there's so many things that people bring to a marriage. I mean, there could have been, rejection. There could have been any number of different negative emotions that happened in life before that we have to get over and have to move forward with.
And we will be talking about that. It's an important part of marriage counseling that we do, and we will get into some of those deep subjects of abuse and molestation and rejection.
So many of those traumatic events,
yes,
they manifest themselves usually in one way, which is anger. People bring anger to the relationship, and they'll just blow up and explode because they don't know how to deal with it. So that's some place for us to go in the future. Another video in the future. And so we want to wrap this one up today for you. So this is video number 2 in our marriage relationship videos. And so this is Mike and Terry with Life and Times, and we sure thank you for being here.